All right, we're back. Another edition of GOHUNT Labs. As you can see, we're in the lab today. We got a bunch of stoves here on the table, 5 stoves specifically, and we're going to run through a bunch of tests right now to figure out, basically we're trying to figure out what they all compare against each other. So it's going to kind of just be a test of, all these different criteria and let you, the user, decide which one might be best, because you might be trying to save weight, or someone might be trying to do a cost-effective method or space savings in the backpack. So that's why it's going to be up to you to determine if, all those factors play into it, or if it's boil time or fuel consumption. So we're going to run through a test right now. And as you see here in front of us, we have SOTO WindMaster, we have MSR PocketRocket 2, we have the Jetboil Stash, Jetboil Flash, and the MSR Windburner. So I tried to pick a bunch of different stoves, very popular stoves in the GOHUNT gear shop. I wanted some more like, I don't know what you want to call these, open stove systems, and more of the enclosed systems here. Obviously this one's going to be kind of a hybrid type. These other two are going to be using the GOHUNT titanium mug. So the criteria that we're going to use in this test, I have a 6-tiered system here. We have price, weight, boil time, fuel consumption, size packability, and then if it has a pressure regulator or not. All right, we're going to jump right into price first, because price for a lot of people is going to be a big determining factor on what stove you want to look at. I'm just going to write all the prices down right now. So the Jetboil Stash, $149.99. And so the way the PocketRocket 2 is going to be determined, because PocketRocket 2 does not come with the system, it's going to be the stove itself and then the GOHUNT titanium mug. So those two added together. It is $94.94. And since you see I am wearing a lab coat, I am a doctor today, my handwriting is really horrible, so I apologize. WindMaster, $114.94. And again, that's added again, the stove and GOHUNT mug. Flash, $124.95. And then the MSR Windburner is going to be our most expensive stove at $199.95. All right, so you can see how we already got things going right now. Next up, we're going to go with the weight of all these stoves. And the weight of all these stoves, I'm just going to go without fuel canisters just to make it easy in comparison all across the board. So let's go over here on the left. SOTO WindMaster, I'm just going to drop it in this little cup. I have my scale right here. It is zeroed, it's on ounces. 7.5 ounces. Next up, PocketRocket 2. 7.1. All right, next up we have the Jetboil Stash. 6.6 ounces. Jetboil Flash. 12.1 ounces. And then finally we have the MSR Windburner here. 14.6 ounces. All right, now I'm just going to show you guys a quick, we're going to weigh this in ounces right now. All these cans do weigh the same. So if you wanted to, you could take all these weights right now and add 7.0 ounces, so 7 ounces to all these to figure out what your total packability is going to be. Obviously, I don't have a lot of room on the board. We'll drop it on the screen, but you can add 7 ounces to every single one of those. And obviously, I would never take this in the backcountry, so these things are stupid. So we got rid of that guy. All right, next, since it's an easy one to do right now, we're going to go size and packability. So I measured all these before. I didn't want to calculate volume or anything crazy like that. Probably would be a better way to do it. I just did length and width here. So we're just going to give you a very rough look at all the lengths and widths. So the WindMaster is going to be 4 3/8 by 4 inches. And the PocketRocket is 4 3/8 by 4 again, because it's the same sort of pot. Everything can fit inside there. Jetboil Stash, 5 by 4 1/8. Jetboil Flash is going to be 7 inches by 4 1/8. And last but not least, we have the MSR Windburner. That's going to be 6 3/4 by 4 1/8. And then for just a quick reference too, when I was measuring these two, since they're a little different, obviously this is all going to go inside there, and it's just a measurement basically of this. Now in our last bit, one of our last bit of calculations here before we start actually doing some boil times is going to be, do these items have pressure regulators or not? And the thing that you kind of want to look at sometimes, pressure regulators are going to really help if you're at high altitudes or colder temperatures. So if you do not have pressure regulators, you can usually, your stove might not burn as efficiently as it would if you had said items. It's not a deal breaker for some people, but maybe it is for others who spend a lot of time at high elevations or colder temperatures. So I'll just put a yes or no next to the ones that do have pressure regulators. So the Jetboil Stash does not have a pressure regulator. PocketRocket 2 does not have a pressure regulator. SOTO WindMaster does have a pressure regulator. Jetboil Flash does not have a regulator. And then last but not least, MSR Windburner, that one does have a pressure regulator. All right, now we're finally at the time we're gonna do some boiling. So what we're gonna try to do is simulate boil time using 16 ounces of water in every single system. And we have trusty little GOHUNT Nalgene here. We got some water all in the same jug, so it's gonna be the same temperature. So it's sitting in there for a little bit. First up though, we're gonna want to weigh each fuel canister. Every single fuel canister we're using is gonna be brand new. It's gonna be specifically for that stove, so we're not gonna mix up anything here at all. So I'm gonna weigh the fuel canister before, and then after we do the boil of 16 ounces of water, I'm gonna unscrew it and weigh the fuel canister afterwards, and that'll be how we determine the fuel consumption side of things. So I'm gonna get this scale here into grams. So it's into grams, I'm gonna make sure it's zeroed. So the fuel canister for the SOTO WindMaster, which is gonna be our first one, 198 grams. All right, so now we have that taken care of. I'm going to carefully measure out 16 ounces right now. We have a little line here for 16 ounces. A little under. Okay, we are right on the line, 16 ounces of water. I'm gonna assemble the fuel canister onto the stove right now. Make sure every fuel canister is gonna be also off before I start it, so we're not gonna lose any fuel. Take our 16 ounces of water, add it to the mug here. The mug is completely empty. Now for boil time, I'm gonna have to take my phone out, stopwatch action. Okay, so I got my phone ready to rock. We have stove, I'm gonna light it, set this on there, start the timer. Then let it rip. And then what we're gonna do to determine the stop point of all these is right when I see a rolling boil, instantly I see that, and then we're gonna call time. Also, it should be worth noting too, every one of these I'm gonna crank the thing to max power on the stove. Okay, so as you can see here right now, we got the SOTO WindMaster doing the boil. We're at 1:10. Walk through some of the cool features on it. So this thing does have a little bit longer wings on the side, so it can actually hold a little bit bigger pot, which is a really good positive. It does have a little self-igniter on the side, which that's kind of great. I always had those fail on a lot of stoves from time to time, so I'll still always rather trust a lighter than that. You can see doing this one too, noise levels of a stove shouldn't really matter ever in a hunting situation, but it's actually a pretty quiet system and really solid so far. Sticks up a little high, but the nice thing is, you know, it's still balanced really well with how big the footprint is of these little claw, you know, little things up on top. Balances, I'm kind of moving around here, see it's not gonna fall. Setting up in place really nice. And all around solid system. I've actually never taken this one into the field on the hunt, so I've always looked at it. I know it's really lightweight, it's a really good option for people. Good action, might be cool. All right, hit the rolling boil as you saw. That's usually pretty chaotic if you're doing this in a tent or whatever. So hit the rolling boil, try to stop it quickly as I can. We were at 2 minutes, 54 seconds, and some little extra tenths after that. So we'll see how the other ones compare, but 2 minutes, 54.57. So we'll try to get this written down cleanly and easily. So right now I did get a little bit of water on the fuel canister. Gonna make sure I don't burn myself, taking this off. Set that there. Okay, I'm gonna need to dry this thing off to make sure it's accurate. So I don't want people to say that the fuel canister is wet and add a little bit of, you know, weight to it. I have the fuel canister from the SOTO WindMaster after the boil. Now we're gonna see what it weighs post-boil to get the fuel consumption. So we are at 189 grams. So like I said, 189 grams right now post-boil. Beginning This can weighed 198, so our fuel consumption, doing 16 ounces in whatever time that was 9 grams of fuel we burned, okay? Write that in there for one boil, fuel consumption, 9 grams. All right, to make sure the test is completely valid, right now I do need to use this GOHUNT titanium pot for the PocketRocket 2 test, but as you can see here, it's got boiling water in it. I'm gonna go take this, dump it out in the sink, put normal water in it for a second, let it dry it off, let it sit there, and we're gonna run through all the other tests first before we go back to this one. That way it's not skewing the test by having this one be a little bit warm on the outside of this GOHUNT titanium mug. So dump this down into the flower pot outside. Okay, next up, MSR Windburner. So again, brand new fuel canister. We're going to weigh this in grams to start, 198 grams to start. Write this down. Got the fuel lever here turned off on the stove. A little bit too much. Okay, we have exactly 16 ounces of water. Okay, time has started, fuel's on there, fuel's all the way cranked. I mean, the stove's already cranked all the way, lid's on top. Now let's let it rock. So again, walk you through some things about this stove. So I've actually used this stove quite a bit back in the day. Reasons why I love it is it actually has, really good wind protection. Hence the name, MSR Windburner. It's really easy to light on top, set it on there. It doesn't really tip over, everything's nice and contained. Again, blocking from the wind, good little flux ring style that's got on it. Works really, really well in the mountains, high country, cold temperatures, that sort of thing. So I've actually used this a lot and I really like it. It is a little on the heavy side, as we have here. 14.6 ounce, it is the heaviest system out there, but it's also super durable, which is a great benefit of this too. And I will say too, it's really kind of nice when some of these styles with these big cups have a sleeve on the outside so you can actually grab it. You have a handle on the side too, so you can grab and drink out of it. Makes it really handy to have a dual purpose system. Got a rolling boil. So MSR Windburner, 2 minutes and 40 seconds to complete a boil of 16 ounces of water. If I can remove this, burning myself. This one's really easy. Another good benefit of this one, little ring on the bottom. Helps you grab it. Okay, so end weight of this, 191 grams. All right, for the MSR Windburner, actually had a little improvement on the fuel consumption. We burned 7 grams of fuel doing the 16 ounces boiling, or 16 ounces of water to get to a boil. We started at 198 grams, brand new fuel canister, ended back up at 191 grams. Next up on the list of stoves, we have the Jetboil Flash. Again, brand new fuel canister. Fuel canister to start. This time it weighs 199 grams. Cranked all the way over on the lever to the right, so we're not leaking any fuel. Put the fuel canister on. And I guess some things I didn't mention before. This water, the only thing we didn't really measure is the temperature of the water. This water is cold water from our little faucet thing. We can go probably measure the temperature of the water later. But it's cold water. It's not just room temperature water. It's not warmed up water. It's really pretty cold water. That's why GOHUNT Labs sometimes is scientific, unscientific. Money in the bank. 16 ounces of water. Okay, here we go. Ooh, instantly on this one, hopefully you can tell, it's a lot louder than all the other systems we've used. I did have a little bit of trouble trying to put it on there at first. Maybe that just comes with time, being more familiar with it, or getting it broken in. But it seems to be a lot louder. Jetboil, this one has a really good flux ring on there. It helps definitely increase the boil time. I've noticed before, we'll prove it right now. I've never actually measured it. It's a really, really great system. Again, very, very stable. Got the handle, got a nice little, whatever material, neoprene-ish sleeve on the outside. And wow, this thing feels like it's a rocket getting ready to take off. It's also really nice too, down at the bottom here is like, you can actually grab some of these things without burning yourself. Another cool little feature about this stove. Ooh. That one happened quick. My mistake on trying to get things going too. So it might have been half a second less, but hey, we're in the lab here at GOHUNT, and again, sometimes things aren't perfect, but we have a time of 1 minute, 41 seconds and some change. So, wow. Big drop right here. We have a full minute and a minute 14 quicker on this system right now. So now we're gonna do fuel consumption again on this. Don't burn my hands. Hot. Ooh. Be smarter. That's a lot easier doing it that way. Oh wow, 194. All right, Jetboil Flash, 5 grams of fuel consumption. We started at 199, we ended at 194, 5 grams on this one. So it's not only fast, but it's efficient. Wasn't gonna guess it was that efficient, being that it was that fast, but it's a good system. Next up, Jetboil Stash. So again, new fuel canister here. We have it all zeroed out. 199 for this fuel canister to start. Again, like before, levers all the way to the right. All right, now I'll walk through this stove again. So this is Jetboil Stash. This is my personal one I take on every single hunt. Probably my favorite system of all time. I'm about to prove if it actually is efficient and all that stuff with fuel consumption, weight and everything. As you can see, it is a little bit louder again. But what I really like though is Jetboil has these little hooks on the side. So this cup actually fits on there really, really solid. It's got the flex ring on the bottom. So it's really great for fuel efficiency and also for wind, because everything's going up into the system. All the heat's going straight up into it instead of just rolling around the side of the cup. We've got it cranked all the way. We're at 40 seconds right now. It does have a nice little handle on the side that you can grab it, move it around. My lid's a little beat up. Don't think that's gonna affect the test that much, but I've melted it a ton. My cup on the top's pretty banged up, but really, really good system. I love the Jetboil Stash, so we'll see how she does on the boil. All right, 2 minutes flat on the Jetboil Stash. So a little bit, kind of on the lower end, similar to the Flash, but not really high too, so that's a good sign. Now for fuel consumption, 195. All right, so the Jetboil Stash right now is leading in fuel consumption. So we started at 199 grams, brand new fuel canister, ended 195 grams after boiling 16 ounces of water. So 4 grams total of fuel consumption on the Jetboil Stash. Race is getting tighter. All right, last but not least, we have the MSR PocketRocket 2 stove. So again, new fuel canister here, we'll weigh it. See what we start at. 198 grams. Okay, now again, we have fuel turned all the way off to the right. Install this on here. Okay, just like the SOTO WindMaster, this one's going to utilize the GOHUNT titanium mug because the system does not come with a cup. So now we're going to measure out 16 ounces of water. Again, cup is empty. This cup was the one we used before. Like I mentioned, it's been sitting here now for, 30, 45 minutes. Completely dry, completely cooled back down to ambient temperature, so it's not going to skew the results of our test. So dump the 16 ounces of water. Put the lid back on. Same thing we did in the other test. Light it, set it on there. Get everything ready here. Wow. PocketRocket feels like literally an actual rocket about to take off. Very, very loud. Again, it's using that same sort of system on top. We have a little, it could fall off the side. There's really nothing to grab onto the cup, but it's actually a really stable system. Really, yeah, it's about ready to take off. I'll definitely notice too that the little arms on the PocketRocket is starting to get red already. So it's very, very hot. Wow. So that one, as you can see here, it's starting to melt these little rubber plastic sleeves on the side of the GOHUNT titanium mug. I kind of had to put it off center a little bit just because I didn't want that thing to go up in flames. Typically when I'm using this, I probably would not have it cranked fully like that because the flames, like I said, are going off to the side and making things really, really hot. But for this one, 2 minutes, 32 seconds and some change to boil 16 ounces of water with the MSR PocketRocket 2. So 232.58. A little bit slower. I ain't in last place in terms of speed. All right, this sucker is so hot that grab it with something. Ooh. Okay, it is zeroed. 187 grams. All right, so MSR PocketRocket 2 fuel canister to start, 198 grams. It ended after boiling 16 ounces of water at 187. So fuel consumption, we burned 11 grams on this one. So this is the worst performing fuel consumption out there right now between the 5 that we tested. All right, that's another edition, GOHUNT Labs. You guys saw, ran through everything on here. We're gonna give you a little summary of the results for all 5 of these backpacking stoves. So again, we had PocketRocket 2, we had the SOTO WindMaster, Jetboil Stash, Jetboil Flash, and the MSR Windburner. All right, all these systems perform very, very well. It's gonna depend again on what you're looking for in a backcountry hunting stove. Again, are you looking for cost? Are you looking for total weight of the system, fuel consumption, boil time? What are you actually looking for? Does the size matter to you? Or does it have a fuel pressure regulator? So all those things will come down to your decision. Hopefully this will help you out. These are, again, 5 of some of the most popular ones in the GOHUNT Gear Shop. And you can see here, here's the chart on the back of our data results. We're in a lab. I have my lab coat on. We're being very, very officially unofficial through this test. Right now I'm going to go through and just rank them really quickly in each category, and that way you can compare them again across these options. So in terms of cost, the highest cost item, MSR Windburner at $199.95, Jetboil Stash $149.99, Jetboil Flash at $124.95, SOTO WindMaster $114.94, MSR PocketRocket 2 $94.94. All right, now in terms of weight, weight's a very big thing when it comes to backpacking stoves. A lot of you might base your opinion just based on weight. So we're going to rank these again 1 through 5. Ranking in first place when it comes to weight category, Jetboil Stash, 6.6 ounces. Second place, MSR PocketRocket 2, 7.1. Third place, SOTO WindMaster at 7.5 ounces. Fourth place, we have Jetboil Flash at 12.1. And then in last place in terms of weight, MSR Windburner at 14.6. And again, that's just the weight of the pot and the burner. It does not include the fuel canister. If you want to add the fuel canister on it, like I mentioned before, add 7 ounces to all those because that was the rough weight of a fuel canister. All right, now in terms of boil time on these 5 stoves. So the winner of the stove in terms of boil time, Jetboil Flash at 141.85. Second place is going to be Jetboil Stash, 2 minutes flat and some extra little change, 42s. Third place is going to be MSR PocketRocket 2 at 232.58. Fourth place, MSR Windburner, 240.48. And then in last place, SOTO WindMaster at 254.57. So why might you want to know boil time? That could be, determining factor of how quickly you can get to your meal in the evening or the morning when you're starving or you want to make that cup of coffee before we go out hunting. So again, all these are relatively fast. You have 2 minute 54 for the slowest, and it goes down to 1 minute 48 seconds for the fastest. So again, leave it up to you, figure out how you want to rank that and how important that is to you in your stove selection. All right, another big one here, fuel consumption. So we always try to figure out how many fuel canisters you need for a whole entire week-long hunt. You can basically take this, times it by how many times you're gonna use that each day. Each one of these tests was done at 16 ounces of water. And then we weighed the canister beforehand, weighed it afterwards to determine fuel consumption. All right, so first place in terms of the least amount of fuel used is going to be the Jetboil Stash at 4 grams. Second place is going to be Jetboil Flash at 5 grams. Third place, MSR Windburner at 7 grams. Fourth place is going to be the SOTO WindMaster at 9 grams. And in last place, MSR PocketRocket 2 at 11 grams. So again, fuel consumption, very important thing when you're in backcountry for 5, 7, 9 days. So that could be a very important category for you. All right, one of the last tests we wanted to do was size and packability. Basically what this is how much room is this stove system taking up in your backpack. And again, it was just a length and width. Everything's going to be inside of there, all compact. And 2 of these stoves use the same pot because they don't have a cup system with it. So we'll just go through. First place is going to be a tie between MSR PocketRocket 2 and the SOTO WindMaster. Length and width was 4 3/8 by 4 inches. Third place then is going to be your Jetboil Stash at 5 inches by 4 1/8. Fourth place is going to be MSR Windburner at 6 3/4 by 4 1/8. And then last place, Jetboil Flash is going to be 7 inches tall by 4 1/8 wide. So again, packability could matter to you if you're going on a really long backpack hunt. You don't have a lot of room in your backpack. Maybe you want to take one that's a little bit less, takes up less room in your backpack. Then the final category, which is a very simple one, does it have a pressure regulator or not? And again, we explained the pressure regulator in the beginning of the video, and it's a simply yes or no answer here, so there's really going to be no clear winner on this. The only 2 that have a pressure regulator in the test of the 5 that we did was the MSR Windburner and then the SOTO WindMaster. So both of those have yeses for pressure regulators. The other 3 are no's. All right, after all that said and done, that's a wrap up on this edition of GOHUNT Labs. Again, we tested 5 stoves, MSR PocketRocket 2, SOTO WindMaster. We have the Jetboil Stash, Jetboil Flash, and the MSR Windburner. Did a lot of different tests here. We basically ranked them on 6 different things: price, weight, boil time, fuel consumption, size, packability, and if it has a pressure regulator or not. Depending on what you need, you can use all sorts of different options here to figure out which one is right for you. And we'd love to know, what do you look for when you're trying to figure out what's your best backcountry hunting stove? Is it price? Is it weight? Fuel consumption? Is it boil time, size, packability? Let us know in the comments. Hopefully this helps you out next time you're looking to buy a backcountry stove for your hunts. And as always, you can get these in the Going Gear Shop. So thanks for watching. Best of luck this fall.